What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we had some little bits of news relating to Destiny 2, and this came in the form of the Bungie podcast today for the 9th of June. So we get some pretty interesting stuff in here. They're talking about the builds of Destiny 2 that they're working on. They talk a little bit about the Arcstrider and just generally the process of building the game and what is left to do, and it's some pretty interesting stuff. So initially, right now, they are focusing on particular builds of Destiny 2, and the private alpha is one that they're working on specifically right now. Now, this is an internal build, which is for Bungie to use essentially to test a build for the beta version of the game. And Bungie describe the alpha and beta versions as a fork of the game that tests the most important things. So kind of like back in Destiny 1, you know, we got story content, we got the social space, we could use the director to kind of navigate between places, which of course tests all of the networking. You've got the PvP, the Crucible, and all of that kind of stuff. So that's really the focus for the Destiny beta in general. It's networking, making sure that that build of the game with that stuff running is stable, and to identify any issues that may happen once you have a ton of people on those servers and on different platforms. So that is pretty interesting. It is worth me mentioning though, the alpha build is an internal Bungie thing, but this is a really big deal because it leads directly onto the beta, and these are really influential builds. They have entire teams working on just those builds. We know that we will get an official announcement during E3 of when Destiny 2's beta will drop. That will most likely come inside of PlayStation's conference, which is late on Monday, so definitely look out for that. Interestingly though, in the podcast, Luke Smith says in a month we'll have players on those servers, and they recorded this podcast on the 6th of June, so around about the 7th of July, a month later. This is one of the dates which people predicted the Destiny 2 beta would drop. It is indeed Bungie Day on the 7th of July as well. It could also be loosely referring to the 17th of July, or anywhere inside of that period of time. I think the important thing here is that we're very likely to get the beta in around about a month from now, so that's very exciting. Moving on though, they had a pretty interesting conversation about playing the new Arcstrider subclass. So we will see the Arcstrider subclass at E3 next week, but Luke Smith said that there is a subclass path inside of the Arcstrider subclass which allows the dodge roll to refill melee energy and melee kills to refill the dodge ability. Now this is really exciting because firstly it's one of the first things we've really learned about the new subclass, but also because it demonstrates that we will have some of the kind of build options which are kind of spammy and fun potentially, and we can also see a lot of potential there for subclass specific exotic armor as well, so that's pretty cool. I assume when he says dodge roll that he is referring to the shade step style roll that will be available for any hunter subclass, or it could be a specific part of the Arcstrider subclass itself. Either way, this sounds really interesting. He also mentioned a single slug precision shotgun, a Soros shotgun, and that sounds pretty much like the Chaperone, and that's going to be an archetype inside of Destiny 2 as well, which is pretty awesome. Moving on to where Bungie are at though, of course they're focusing on these builds of the game and everything like that, but they say that every week more developers move off and onto other side projects. So essentially, although this does kind of sound like a bad thing, it actually isn't. It means that, you know, the work has been done and that they need to move those people away and onto other things so that they can focus on implementing the finished content into the game. So really, the focus right now is on fixing bugs, improving stability, fine-tuning the sandbox, putting the finishing content into the game. They talk about how they're tuning power ammo and damage for PvE right now, but they do also say that the PvP teams are very happy with where they've got to in the Crucible, and Luke Smith said specifically that he's been hearing more and more excitement from the PvP testers than ever before. So that definitely sounds good. We also learned that there will be a day one update for Destiny 2. This happens quite a lot in video games now, but this will essentially patch the game with the final development changes because of course the data for the game has to be put onto discs a couple of months before release for production and distribution purposes, so it does take a while. They need that data to be shipped, and they'll actually still be making changes to the game after, you know, those versions of the game are being produced. So we will get a day one update which will, you know, apply a series of changes that they've done in the period of time since the game actually started being manufactured, so that is pretty interesting. And that sums up really the bulk of the most interesting stuff inside of this podcast, but I absolutely recommend that you go and take a listen. It's a very interesting insight into, you know, how it must feel to work at Bungie right now, the kind of pressures and the things that they're thinking about on a day-to-day basis leading up to the release of Destiny 2. So I hope you have found this video informative, guys. If you have, a like and comment below would be appreciated. Let me know what you think about any of the things we've learned today. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit subscribe to see a lot more Destiny content if you want to. But for now, I appreciate you guys watching, and I hope you have an awesome day.